Hi and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Batman Confidential, which is a series which ran from 2006 up until 2011, and it contains stories about Batman in his mostly early days. Not a lot of partners with him. They're all separate stories, so you can read all the issues in a different order. Well, the stories at least. They made 10 books of the series. There are a few issues which are not collected, which are 36 to 39. The story is called Black Hawk Down, and number 49. It's called Work That's Never Done. I don't own them, but the rest has been collected in 10 books, and I thought it would be cool to do a top 10 of it. At number 10, I have put the ninth book, issues 44 to 48 of Batman Confidential. It's called Batman vs. the Undead. So of all the 10 Batman Confidential books, I think this is the worst. It's a continuation of the Batman and Superman versus vampires and werewolves story. Batman works together with this vampire called Demeter, and it's just a zombie story. It's not that awesome. I didn't enjoy reading it that much. The writer is Kevin Van Hook. He wrote Superman and Batman vs. Vampires and Werewolves, of course. Tom Mandrake did the art, and he is known some 52 stuff, Detective Comics, the Crime Bible, but also the Battle for the Cowl Companion has a story in it about Gordon, Commissioner Gordon. It's the first story in here, and that's also by Tom Mandrake. So the art is okay, it's no problem, but the story is very boring. So. Number 9 goes to The Bat and the Beast, issues 31 to 35 of Batman Confidential. It plays in Russia, and most of the text is translated from Russian, so it's in brackets, and it's very annoying to read that. It's not about a cagey beast, which I thought. It's a big freak with a lot of hair who lives in the sewers, and yeah, it's a forgettable story, I think. The writer is Peter Milligan. He helped create Azrael, so that's a good thing, of course. He also wrote some Detective Comics stuff. First, let me show you the book. This is Batman Beast. And Peter Milligan also wrote Dark Knight, Dark City. It's a couple of Detective Comics issues. And the artist is Andy Clark. And Andy Clark we know from Face to Face, yeah, that's the one I have here. Number 8 goes to Superpowers, the last book. It's issues 50 to 54. Mark Guggenheim, you know from Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, and the Green Lantern movie. He writes a lot of comics for Marvel. This is one time he did a DC story, so this is Superpowers. It's about a lot of people with superpowers, so that's kind of cool. Jerry Bingham, we know from Son of the Demon. Son of the Demon is one of the stories in this book. I also have an older version of it. It's a great original story. It's all like you can see here. So the art is okay. It's not bad. The story is forgettable in the way that you can change all the characters with some Marvel characters, and it would still be the same story. There's not a lot of DC lore in it. Number 7. It gets better now. So this is Rules of Engagement. Still not that great. Andy Diggle is a great writer for Action Comics and M. Strange. He also did, of course, Green Arrow Year 1, and I think that's why they called the character John Diggle Diggle. In this story, it's about Batman and Lex Luthor and Jim Gordon working together to take down kind of like an Iron Man. So the robot, it's called Ogre, O-G-R-E, like an acronym. It's a pretty sci-fi military story. The art is okay. It's not bad. It's by Portacio, Whilce Portacio. He also did some stories in Superman, Batman, so not everything, but I have an issue marked here. His art is kind of good there, so still not all that, but not bad. Rules of Engagement collects issues 1 through 6 of Batman Confidential. Number 6, Sam Keith wrote and drew this book, Ghosts. Well, his style is very much very recognizable. I have some issues of Scratch here, which he also wrote and drew. He also did some Lobo stuff. In this, we can find the story Ghosts. It's issues 40 to 43, but also a Lobo story, Deadly Serious, in 2 parts. It's okay. I like it. The art is very well. You can recognizable. You can just see it's Sam Keith. And the story is about him and a blind girl working together in a way to take down this monster thing which preys on sadness. So Batman is a sad person, of course. He has a lot of sadness in him. This blind girl can withstand him, so she can help him. She's very quirky, pudgy blind girl, she calls herself. Sam Keith's art style really brings out the pudginess because he draws that way. So she's very funny, but also a bit of a tragic figure. Number 5 is King Tut's Tomb. This is the book. It collects some very old stuff with a museum theme. The Batman Confidential stories in it are 26 to 28. Well, I can show you some stuff like this. This is the older stuff, but the story itself is with Riddler helping Batman to take down King Tut. And well, the name is from the 60s series. You have a King Tut there. It's much more like a pharaoh creature which works with riddles a lot. So the Riddler is a bit miffed that it's not him. So he helps Batman take him down. He also makes a nice joke about the Steve Martin song, King Tut. You can find it in the description. It's a very funny song. I like that a lot about this story. It's a good story. So that's number 5. It's written by a couple, De Philippis and Weir. They are man and wife, husband and wife, and they also wrote 1 issue that's in this book, Officer Down. The art is by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, who has done a lot of DC stuff. A nice one he did. Next to all the Batman and Detective Comics stuff, he also did the movie adaptation to Batman Returns. I have the Dutch version here. It's a very old book, of course, 1992. But also by Garcia. So, at number 4 we have The Wrath. The character The Wrath, or Wrath, is like the anti-Batman. I think he's in some newer stuff too. They have kind of like the same backstory, but like as Bruce Wayne turned out good, he turned out very bad. So, but it's like a prequel. It's this story from Batman Confidential is a sequel to the old Batman special about the Wrath. So Nightwing is in it too. I really like the dynamic between Nightwing, especially at the end. They fight so well together, and that's nice to read here. Tony Bedard also helped with Countdown, so I have this book here. I already showed this in the Paul Dini video, but as you maybe know, Countdown consists of multiple storylines. One of them is by Tony Bedard. And the artist is of course Rex Morales. We know him from a lot of stuff like Nightwing, but also here from Identity Crisis. Now we get to the top 3. At number 3 I have here The Cat and the Bat. It is very hard to find, especially cheap. The rest is kind of cheap on eBay, but this one was expensive. But I still bought it because I wanted to have all 10 books. It's not about Batman, he's in it, but it's mostly about Batgirl and her first encounter with Catwoman. It's a very colorful story, it's a funny story, but, and that's maybe why it's hard to find, I don't know. There's also a bit of cheek in it. Batgirl has to follow Selina into, it's Barbara Gordon Batgirl, of course. She has to follow Selina into this hedonist society club, like a nudie bar, and she has to strip down in order to get in. So that's funny, but the story as a whole, it's okay. It's pretty funny actually. So it's by Fabian Nicieza. I never get his name right. We can find his work also in one of my favorite books. This is Azrael, the second Azrael, Michael Lane, Death's Dark Knight. Nicieza also wrote this one. Oh yeah, and the art is by Maguire, and Maguire did some stuff. I have here my JLA custom collection book 9. It's JLA Classified, and it starts with JLA Classified 4 through 9, which is all Maguire art. So yeah, I recognize the way he expresses, he uses faces. Number 2 goes to Lovers and Madman. It's with Joker, as you can see. It rewrites the whole origin story of Joker, how he first meets Harley. It's also how Batman gets the Bat computer. It's a very funny storyline in here. If you read it, you will know why. It's a solid story. It's written very well. Maybe it doesn't really adheres to the continuity, but I don't mind. It's nice to read. It's a cool Joker story, which is always very nice. In this, you will find the issues 7 to 12 of Batman Confidential. The writer is Michael Green. He wrote Heroes for TV. He wrote a lot of TV stuff. He also did some Supergirl, Superman, Batman stuff, which I already shown. Yeah, it's a pretty good story. The art is also very strong. Just an example here. Very harsh in a way. It's by Dennis Cohen, and Cohen also helped with, in this example, Convergence, Batman and Robin, numbers 1 and 2. It's a bit softer here, but still recognizable. So that brings us to number 1. Number 1 goes to another Joker story. It's the last one in the series. Issues 22 to 25 and 29 and 30. It's called Dead to Rights, and the second story is called Bad Cop, but they go together. That's one big story. Andrew Kreisberg has written this. This is the book. Between Dead to Rights and Bad Cop, the King Tut story was placed, but like I said, this is one big story. It's fast-paced, full of cool moments. It really shows how dangerous the Joker is. You can put him in a cell, in handcuffs, in a straitjacket. He will always find ways to kill people, and he just succeeds in that. Kreisberg we know from, Justice League cartoon, Arrow, Legends, Flash series, but also some comics like Green Arrow and Black Canary. The art, which I just showed, is by McDaniel. McDaniel did a lot of DC stuff too, like 52, Batman, Batman and Robin, Detective Comics, Birds of Prey, Earth 2 World's End, which also could be a future video. The Earth 2 stuff of the New 52, I really like it. But he also did the first 5 volumes of Nightwing, his one, Bloodhaven. As you can see, Scott McDaniel is on here. It's the same artist, and I really like the Nightwing series too. So just a quick recap. At 10 it was Batman vs. the Undead. Yeah. 9 was the Bat and the Beast. Yeah. Batman's superpowers is at 8. Also pretty meh. Rules of Engagement, decent. Okay. Number 7. Number 6 goes to Ghosts. Pretty good. Should read it one time. King Tut's Tomb is at 5. Better than expected. Very funny. The Wrath, nice story, especially with the old special thrown in. Number 4. The Cat in the Bat, very funny. Very nice to read if you like Batgirl too, and I mean Barbara Gordon Batgirl especially. Flowers and Madman at 2. Cool Joker story, a bit of a rewrite, but very awesome. And That's Right at number 1. Awesome Joker story, very good. If you like Joker, definitely pick up this one. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.